What is up, everybody? Your boy Deuce is back once again. Thank you guys. Guys, I have another video for you guys today. It's actually still on the Moscow students, Moscow, Idaho, the 4 students that was brutally murdered. And it goes on more in detail of how the 2 survivors actually survived on the first floor. They actually did have the basement door, the numeric code door, and there's another door, like I thought, in the house. It was actually locked, and that's the reason why the killer didn't actually kill them as well. Guys, in this video is a lot of speculations going on, a lot of him reading, but it makes totally sense. There has been a masked man going around Idaho before the killings on doorbell cameras, ringing in doorbell and trying to get people to open doors. But anyways, I'm just gonna let him read this stuff and let him tell the story, guys. But first, love yourself, like yourself, be nothing but yourself. Like, subscribe to the channel, it's highly appreciated. Without further ado, guys, let's jump right into the video.
Thank you so much to Hocus Pocus for subscribing. I am reading your comments. I really appreciate that. I'm taking notes because I have so much to say. The person that stabbed these 4 victims was using a military style knife, and this kind of military style knife, they haven't found it yet. They haven't found the weapon, but it has an anti-slip grip on it. So if you're stabbing somebody, it's possible that you cannot have any wounds on yourself, even though that's unlikely. So I wonder if they're ruling out people because they didn't have wounds on them. It's possible that they didn't. I also think the cops in this scenario, Banfield touched on it a little bit, is that it took a week for them to measure the forensics of the tire track marks in front of the house. A week later, they started going through the woods in the back, which is like a Ted Bundy style murder, where it's possible that the person was watching them from the woods and waiting for a door to be unlocked to make their move. So it does kind of sound like they're moving.
Not to mention, guys, I've said in my other videos as well, the ladies are college students. In the summertime, they set out back, bathing suits, whatever else they may actually want to do with themselves, their life in general. It's supposed to be private. These girls had no curtains on their patio doors, 2nd floor or 3rd floor, guys. So anybody that was actually in the wooded area could actually see straight in the doors, watch their life, watch what they had to do. The girls actually done TikTok videos on top of that, guys. And then one of the girls actually put their car on Craigslist for sale, and her location was dropped where her car was sitting at for sale and her picture, guys. So, I mean, you tie, her TikTok videos in with trying to sell her car. Her location's dropped on Craigslist. There's Craigslist killers out there anyways. Again, what this guy's saying is all speculations, but it is all being read as well. So what else do we have to go in this case, guys? There's really nothing else. There's nothing that we can actually say besides the detective coming forward said they had a bloody footprint that was left, and they're going to reconstruct the crime scene 3D and held by blood splatter and all that other stuff, who was stabbed first and whatever happened. We already know that when the phone call was made, the first phone call, one of them came from the 1st floor upstairs, found someone unconscious, but they didn't even look at the person because they didn't really have a chance. What happened is they ran back downstairs. They fainted outside. The friend that actually caught her phone actually ended up finishing the 911 call and said the people was unconscious because she didn't go upstairs to see. So we know that much is facts. But now there's a masked man in Moscow, Idaho, running around doing what else he actually wants to do, and he's still at large. I mean, there goes to say that this guy may live right down the road from all these people. I find it very hard to believe that the cops, the FBI, federal agents have no leads in this. I do. A Bundy-style killing. They said that he may have been actually watching him from the wooded area. On top of that, that's a Bundy-style killing, waiting for his opportunity, watching him for a while, watching them leave, come home, maybe go in their house whenever they are gone and do something to their home. I mean, we don't know that stuff. All we know is there was a brutal stabbing of 4 college students, and it's supposedly one man with a knife that killed 4 people, and nobody knows anything. Anyways, guys, let's jump right back into the video.
Very, very slowly. So again, I really hope that they do have somebody in mind, and maybe we just need to be patient in this scenario. But going back to the 911 calls, there's suspicious males with ski masks and knives being reported throughout Moscow, Idaho. So on Wednesday, 23rd November, just before 9 a.m., the owner of a laundromat in Moscow reported something alarming. Quote, a mark on a column inside that looks like blood. Though a police officer responded, they did not file any report. It is just one of many potentially worrying but seemingly unconnected sights and sounds reported in the town since the murders. One person reported a suspicious vehicle in the parking lot, along with a person out digging in the dirt. Officers made contact with the person, yet filed no report. Another report said there was a person standing in the cul-de-sac wearing a big jacket and wearing a black ski mask. Officers were unable to locate them. A report on Sunday, 20th November, described a male on the side of the road carrying a knife in front of him, stretched out. Officers made no reports. So numerous 911 calls focused on suspicious men, suggesting Moscow residents are particularly alert to the possibility of a male perpetrator. That is hardly unreasonable given the overwhelming evidence that men are more likely to commit violent crimes than women. So a caller on Sunday night, the same day the murders became public, reported a male standing near a bike rack who looked like he was trying to hide. Over the next 2 weeks, citizens reported a male outside taking photos of the upper floors, a male acting strange and throwing things into a dumpster, a suspicious male on the University of Idaho campus, a male wandering around the area who was there several days ago too, a male at the dog park asking strange questions, and a strange male saying suspicious things. One caller appeared to be galvanized by the murders to report a previous incident, saying on Monday, 21st November, that they wanted to report a suspicious male encountered more than a week before. So yeah, there was also that knife threat on the University of Idaho campus where there was a guy with a mountain bike threatening a group of students with a knife a couple weeks before the murders. So it kind of pointing towards maybe a serial killer. While some calls could easily have been false alarms, others suggest genuine incidents of harassments or threats. A caller on Wednesday, 16th November, said a man kept calling them and whispering in a low voice. A caller on Thanksgiving Day said a man had given their daughter a note on the back of a receipt while she was at work saying, quote, "You better watch out." One person reported a man who came into their business and kept trying to get a young female employee to go outside with him. Others said they were followed home from work by an unknown person. In both cases, officers made contact with the suspicious person but filed no reports. A number of 911 calls involved suspicious noises or unexplained phenomena, suggesting an understandable jumpiness among residents. Quote, "Reporting person keeps waking up to noises outside and would like an officer to check the area. Officers responded with no report. Reporting person is hearing noises above her and it's making..."
And guys, you would think being a college, off college campus, whether it be or not, there's drugs going on in this vicinity. We know that it happens. There's a lot of drinking going on, a lot of partying going on. You think your cops would run heavy in this area anyways. You would think they would actually have people would have cameras up, because I'm sure there's normal people that work a daily job that live in this vicinity of where these college students was brutally stabbed. So no one has their cameras. No one has nothing on their cameras. No one has anyone walk down the street that night. Maybe there's a camera on the back of the balconies of the apartments, facing downwards to the wooded area. What does the wooded area even lead to? Is there water around there? These things could be asked. But I'm sure if there was water, the cops would have combed the water for the knife. But there's just too much stuff. I find it very hard to believe that the killer stabbed 4 people and left absolutely nothing behind. There's too much blood, guys. There's blood everywhere. There's 4 brutally stabbed. How many times the victim was stabbed, we have no idea. But, it's gruesome. There's pictures of blood outside the house, guys. So, they literally said that there was actually blood splatter on the walls as well. They went that far. That's the reason why they're reconstructing a 3D image of the crime scene, and they're going to put that together, and they'll be able to tell much more than what they know now about the crime scene, about who stabbed first, how much pressure it was with the knife, how many times they was actually stabbed, so on and so forth, guys. So we're just sitting back and we're waiting on that stuff. But until then, what do we got? What is the cops doing? I'm sure they're searching through everything. Did they go through the phones? Is that the reason why maybe they found some of this leads that they're actually going on? They got to be questioning people, because if not, what are we doing? We're wasting our time. We're turning wheels that has no more rubber. Who knows? The killer could be in another country by now, guys. Absolutely no traces behind but a bloody footprint, they said. A detective said that. And I think he actually slipped up in the interview on that. And now we have a person walking around Mascot, Idaho in a mask, ringing doorbell cameras. and leaving his face on there. Can that be tied in with this whole ordeal? Anyways, guys, let's continue with the video.
Her nervous. Officers responded, no report. Some reports mentioned hearing screams, including people screaming for help, while others said they had experienced people knocking on their doors or windows or ringing their doorbells and then disappearing. There were several reports of suspicious vehicles, as well as people finding their doors mysteriously locked or unlocked. Quote, reporting person states she thinks someone that has been trying to enter the residence the past few nights would like to talk to an officer. Report taken. A caller the previous day claimed that someone had knocked on the door and then walked away saying, quote, they have a big dog, try a different house, end quote. An officer responded but did not file a report. So that is pretty crazy. And this is a text that has surfaced online regarding the roommates. So it says here, apparently a guy in a mask walked into the house. I'm sure the door was unlocked. The two girls that survived heard rummaging and they locked their doors. They're kind of a party house, so they figured it was just some random kids and they were in bed, so they just locked their doors. They called two other PFs, I don't know how to pronounce that, to come over in the morning to check things out because they hadn't heard from the other roommates, and they opened Xana's door to see her stabbed to death with her boyfriend. They called 911 and found the other two girls. So there was a masked man that in this text message that the roommates saw, and that's the reason why they locked their doors. So something else here, Julian James writes, it's being reported that a local said police have footage from doorbell camera of a masked man entering or at least walking up to the house around 3 a.m. and got a somewhat discernible screen grab of his eyes. And this was shown to the neighborhood frat / sorority houses. And I guess the frat identified the photo instantly as a man who lives on the same street. Another local admitted that they in fact gave the footage to the police. So there's a Ring doorbell camera of a masked man knocking on doors. And this person down here writes, this is the original post. Quote, okay, rumor, but this sounds reliable from my perspective. I am 2 degrees separated from a super close and devastated friend of one of the victims. Apparently law enforcement have a Ring clip of a certain person of interest, mostly his eyes on someone's cam. Police showed video to unspecified frat members and they identified this person immediately. He was a neighbor of victims at the time. Can't say for certain who that is without connecting a few logical dots here. And there is a Ring camera image to go along with this. And so it's a masked man going around Moscow, Idaho, ringing these doorbells. And according to the text message that was leaked as well, this is the reason why the roommates actually locked their doors and weren't victim to this intruder. So is it the work of a serial killer? Is it the work of someone they know? Very, very interesting. And the police aren't.
Guys, this is 100% the work of a serial killer. There's no way that this person just got away just with no trace. I don't believe that. I mean, look at the Kylie Rodney case, guys. It's ruled an accident, but the case is still open. I say that in every single video, and I will continue to say that. I will continue to make videos on the Kylie Rodney case as well. These cases, some cases go unsolved, guys. We have some cold cases from 50 years ago that's never been solved. It happens. Cases go cold. What are we, 3 weeks into this, basically? So hopefully, guys, all this stuff is true that we're seeing here, because they could do eye recognition on this guy on the doorbell camera. They could do all kinds of stuff with this. This is all the cops need. This is all the FBI needs to break this case wide open. Anyways, guys, I'm actually going to jump out of here. But first, love yourself, like yourself, be nothing but yourself. Like and subscribe to the channel. It's highly appreciated. Without further ado, guys, your boy Deuces is out. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.